metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. Life is gone. You see, a slogan used to... A metal and plastic contraption bobs up and down amidst the trembling reeds. At first, it just looks like trash, but if you look closer...
That, over there, must be the boy Klaas you told us about. The one she hid her passport in. We should take a look.
You lift the boy out of the water without much effort. It's not tied to anything. The cords dangling from the bottom appear to have been cut. It smells like you would expect it to smell. A concentrated version of the coast. Salt, industrial slop and decay. And just a dash of hard liquor. Yum. There's something in there, splashing around. The number 11 has been written on the yellow plastic. It hasn't been in the water for very long, but it's already discolored and slimy with silt. A latch holds it close, but only just barely. The brittle metal of the latch has cracked.
Simple construction. Very unsafe.
A shot glass's worth of seawater pours out, some algae, and nothing else.
Well, damn. I have no idea. Or think we do. This is a small loose end, either way. Not important, I hope. In my experience, cryptids are generally uninterested in travel documentation. We should go.
You could ask the miss what she thinks, later, if you have the time, though you doubt she'll tell you much at this point.
We still got here too late. There's nothing of use here anymore.
A few locusts trudge along the wall. Poor things. The trap is filled with dead, poor thing. A scattering of bullet holes. As you approach, the man turns and greets you with a polite wave. He appears completely at ease, like a common holidaymaker.
Ah, super. It's the officer. I was not expecting to run into you again, but things have a funny way of turning out, no? What brings you down to the scenic Martinez coast? My friend, if it's la responsabilité you're after, I have good news for you. There's no need to form such a committee, because it already exists. The Comité de Responsabilité de Revachol. It acts as a sort of clearinghouse for coalition activities. To put it simply, they are the ultimate arbiters of la responsabilité in this part of the world.
Yes, this is just the sort of reasonable authority you're looking for.
I would offer to connect you with the committee myself, but alas, I am not actually in Martinez.
What? Where is he then? He's speaking figuratively. He means he's not in Martinez in his official capacity.
Why, officially, I am still in La Delta, preparing for an upcoming conference on fuel oil derivatives. I'm only in Martinez in an unofficial capacity. That's why it would be extremely irregular, or potentially even inappropriate for me to intercede with the committee concerning a district I'm not officially in. Well, under ordinary circumstances, the committee contacts you.
In other words, the committee only knows what it wants to know.
But if you have information of a vital interest, they might be willing to entertain an exception. In which case, I would advise you to contact them via Coalition Warship Archer. You see, in addition to being an airborne artillery platform, Coalition Warship Archer is also the linchpin of the Coalition's surveillance and communications infrastructure in Revachol. And listening. It has the most objective vantage point in the entire city. Not to mention a vast array of radio, photographic, and meteorological monitoring instruments. I find it a great comfort to know there are benevolent powers watching over all, in strict accordance with the Wayfarer Act. This is quite the problem. Very tricky. Of course, the Archer has orders to fire on any unidentified aerostatics that might approach it, so it might be safer to get in touch from the ground. But in that case, you would require a radio transmitter capable of broadcasting on coalition frequencies. And that kind of technology naturally isn't typically available for non-coalition use. Yes, it is a bit of a conundrum. I suppose there might be some way to circuit bend your way onto those frequencies, but you'd have to be one of those techno-tinkerers to do it. Unfortunately not, no. I don't have the pleasure. I am merely a representative of the coalition government, not very well versed in technology. But you...
Sounds like something that programmer we met in the church might be able to help with.
Let me just say that I have complete confidence in the RCM. I'm sure you'll figure something out. Well, that's Tressin. I was visiting the fishing village just north of here. They have applied for a series of microloans to revitalize the old market. And well, I wish to see the situation firsthand. And then, well, I had some extra time on my hands, so I decided to stroll down here. It's quite peaceful, isn't it? Ah? Is that what those pockmarks are? I might have guessed. Fascinating how much history is contained right here, if only one knows where to look for it.
You feel like there's something you could say here, if only you really knew what was going on.
Ah bon? I'm all ears, officer. Always my pleasure to be of assistance to the RCM. Godspeed, and if we don't meet again, bonne chance.
There's no way the perp is in here, officer. Look how scarred the boards are. All attempts to pry them off have failed. Not this time. The opposition is insurmountable, but I like the spirit. Have some points. It's lonely and cold without points. And dangerous. Dangerous too.
The suspect? God, I hope not. I can't see a way in, though many have tried.
The smell, it's awful and familiar. Don't be naive. Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency, that faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that. Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. Fear. The lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose. There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find. No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not pick them up. They seem unhygienic.
A tragedy.
He shakes his head with genuine sadness. Whoever tossed it here was a heavy name reads Red Astra. Now, this makes partying look bad. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads, Shish Kebab Revachol. It's hard to concentrate in the smell. The sea air brings some relief. A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. Half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the right leg. The fall has left him broken, contorted like a sad puppet. The smell is not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there.
Hold on. Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. Breathe. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist. Be very, very careful where you step here. The boards screech under the weight of the T500 ceramic sabatons. It's a good thing they're so light, because it's hard to determine whether it was the dead man's weight that caused the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. You see waves churning below. Something cracks beneath your feet. A .75-liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside. It's mid-market spirits with a slight touch of menthol. The man meant to enjoy himself, have a good time.
Tear all around us. I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
True. It feels disrespectful. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you? Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
Rybowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too.
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is... I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back. The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. You have to be quite inebriated to fall that bad. Well over a liter of pure ethanol. 3 bottles of wine, or 1.5 of spirits. When damp, these boards are really slippery. Even a sober man could lose their balance here. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his moustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. The leather jacket suits him well. It must be custom-made. A cool leather jacket with a bolt of blue? Oh no, this sounds terribly familiar. You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into 2. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done. Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
A dead working-class man with a bottle in his hand? Don't deceive yourself. You know who this is.
The woman you met at the book stand? Why do you think it's her husband? Well, he's definitely someone's husband. Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive. No, I don't see anything that points in that direction. For now, let's treat this case as a simple, albeit sad, accident, unrelated to the murder case.
Yes, But what if there's a killer on the loose? Two suspicious deaths in such a short time frame.
A sequence killer? There's nothing that connects those two bodies. This is a completely different case. An accident.
What if all of this is staged? He could have seen something that night in the yard.
It's possible, but let's take it step by step. We still haven't identified the man. What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the Pox. They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources to actually repair the boardwalk. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean. Oh yes. Some symptoms of acute alcohol poisoning could have definitely played a role here. Severe confusion, respiratory depression, unpredictable behavior. But I think that death arrived through head trauma, not liver failure. It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body. From where I stand, I can see two options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle. A field autopsy isn't necessary if the cause of death doesn't appear to be criminal, and this looks like a simple accident to me. I'd say we should just write down head trauma and leave it at that. Let's keep this detour as short as possible. The sooner we get back to finding Ruby, the better. Maybe, but we don't really have much time or resources to spare. The guys at processing will take care of the rest. Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from my kinema. Let them know we are taking the case.
The library card is folded into two and still slightly wet to the touch. The front side reads, Central Jamrock Public Library Card, issued to Billy Mejean, expires July 53. If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 005 02 55211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78, Jamrock. Business hours, 900 to 1800.
Good. We should give them a call from my kinema. See if we can learn anything about Billy Mejean.
Good idea. There was plenty of information here to go by. Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. The last one in the list is The Glinton Curve by M. Theobald. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. Some thrillers too. There's some tear, an empty...
Yes, what is it? What? No, no one's suspicious around here.
She has not seen her, sire. 'Tis true.
Do I look like someone who has time for side projects at this moment?
If you want her help, maybe you should help her first.
You told them to leave? Didn't think...
The mother of humanism stands above you, a precious and complex wax painting on a single page. The mother of humanism stands above you, a precious and complex wax painting on a single pane of glass. A crack runs across the length of her body, her face oval and sad. Nothing, just the edge of the crack sparkles in the dark.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can I help you with? Nay, I haven't seen anyone lately.
Because she's blind, which you seem to have forgotten.
This is my little cinder block town. I know what goes on around here.
She's being evasive. She knows something.
There was a murder in Martinez. She might be a suspect. We would appreciate your help.
Would you now? I know how this world works, and it doesn't work when people tell on each other. Ah, I should have known. This is yet another union mess. I'm not afraid of them, you know. We are not in the habit of being afraid around here.
Enough of this. She better start talking right now.
There's not much to tell. People come and go. Now, was there something else?
I see, ma'am. I hope you don't mind if we look around anyway.
You should look around your shack. Maybe she's rented it out to others too.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer?
An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, such as it is, without the expression. It's just hairy. A brisk coastal wind still howls against the window of the shack. Occasionally, the waves crawl in under the foundation, producing a low hum. The room feels muffled, like you pulled your hat over your ears. Outside, it is cold and windy, but you're inside, and it feels safe and warm.
What is this place to you?
Overhead, you hear the forlorn shriek of seagulls. Far below the birds, a wooden boardwalk filled with abandoned stands, tables and benches, echoes from a long-lost time. A middle-aged man stands in a rundown shack on the edge of a fishing village, listening to the heater hum on the wall. Who are you talking to? There is no one here, not even cold. Outside, the howl of the wind has picked up. The waves crash against the stilts again. It's as if you think the thought, but in someone else's voice.
Look under the floorboards.
As you look at the floorboards in this corner of the shack, it's clear one of them isn't quite level with the others. The edge of a floorboard next to it looks scratched. Hollow space underneath the floorboards is dark and damp. You can barely make out the mixture of sand and sawdust below. Nothing particular catches your eye. Looks like more reeds. There might be something hidden inside the sand, though. Something bad. Someone's night thoughts. A last resort. A bad idea. You stick your hand in and start combing through the sand. Dry, not like outside. Fine dust. And then, something hard wrapped in paper. A small cylindrical object. You pull it out. A bullet. The floorboard doesn't care. But maybe the washerwoman does. You have enough to confront her with. It's extra ammunition. She's locked and loaded, ready to fight some cops. On the table, you see a bowl of water, a rough soap, and next to it, a small hand mirror. A straight razor soaks inside the wash basin. The water reflects back a vague image of your face. Nose bulbous and red, hair unkempt, wrinkles lining the eyes and forehead. The stash is gigantic. You'll be looking like a pansy without the chops. A fucking pansy. A fresh start looms ahead. Clean yourself up and be born anew. Like an artist with a brush or a master swordsman, you use the small mirror and the straight razor with some soap to remove all that unkempt hair from below the noseline. The sharp blade chafes against your skin, producing a scratching sound. The surface underneath the beard feels tender, the air brushing against it chilly. They feel so smooth, surprisingly so. A feeling of freshness overcomes you, as if you just came from a cold bath. The water reflects back a vague image of your clean-shaven face. Despite the bulbous nose, unkempt hair, and persistent swelling, you look a little younger, maybe. Your face, such as it is, a regular human face, sans expression.
Yes? Yes. I don't know what to say. Perhaps... I'm really not sure about this turn of events. I may have preferred the mutton chops. They sort of seem to cover up the...
Damage.
Either way, good on you. You were saying?
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can I help you with? Damn that girl.
And without anger, a long and harsh life has taught her not to buckle under pressure.
A bullet? You didn't put it there, did you? She did.
Gone and hid things in there? She's usually a good tenant, and not a stupid one either. Yes, I let my room to that Ruby girl. As I've done before when she's been in trouble or just looking for solitude. I've made it clear. We welcome all kinds of people here. She came last Friday, left on Monday in a hurry. What has she gotten herself into, that girl?
That's for the police to find out. Right then, please answer each question to the best of your ability. I'm sure we have a few.
I cleaned it, like I always do. No. She's good company. Knows how to talk to an old woman. At my age, you don't get a lot of quality conversation, so I really appreciate that about her.
This Ruby is an old lady whisperer. She knows how to work the village elder, unlike you.
Did she talk to you much during her last stay?
No, she was mostly silent this time, kept to herself. She tried not to let it show, but I could tell she hadn't come to fish. Usually she likes to cross a few lines, but this time she mostly stayed in her room.
She wanted to talk to her, as they usually do, but she was brooding.
How would I know? She's a gruff one, but not violent. She doesn't go around toting a gun.
You could ask her about your hunch, that it was a desperate measure. See if she thinks Ruby fits the bill.
Aye, do tell. Exit from what?
The lieutenant stops writing for a moment. He looks at you, then at the old woman.
No, she's a fighter.
Not a quitter, like you sometimes get, son.
Not that I know of, though she was into nice music. She once showed me a few mixtape milieux she'd made. Although I guess she was pretty handy with the mechanical and technical stuff. Even fixed the heater in the shack. You should be thankful for that.
She may simply have kept the equipment elsewhere.
Yes, early with the dogs, around 8 o'clock, I think. I don't know. Further up the coast, she tried to leave quietly, but the hinges on that door screeched like a cat in heat. Woke me up. I heard her rushing in those heavy boots, heading up north. You'll never find her, you know. She knows the coast like the back of her hand. You only just arrived.
I wouldn't worry about that, ma'am. We are persistent.
Are you sure you would rather stay here? Get a nice cozy fire going in the heater? Seems like a better idea to me.
The Feld electric mural. You feel like you should go look at it again. Step closer this time.
What more do you want to know? Yes, let's hear one.
She really means it. It's an honest plea.
She's a good girl. Whatever she's gotten herself mixed up in.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? One moment. Can you please describe the body? Age, sex, cause of death?
The man was about 173 centimeters tall, stout, with dark hair and a mustache. We suspect he might have been inebriated when he slept. There were bottles all around him, and traces of vomit on his shirt.
Any signs of violence? A sequence killer. Are you suggesting that this might be connected to the case you're working on?
No, we are not. There is no evidence to suggest that this man was connected to the lynching, or that we are dealing with a sequence killer here. It looked like a simple accident to me, Alice. No field autopsy necessary.
No field autopsy necessary.
You can hear her quickly typing in the background.
What about his belongings? Did you examine his clothes? Any information on the library card? Good. You have a lead. Do you and Lieutenant Kitsuragi want to take the case, or should I assign it to someone else? I have assigned the case to Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi. Please follow up on this library lead to identify the man. We'll send someone to take the body to the morgue. That's all for now. Thank you for reporting in. Is there anything else I can do for you? Hold on, officer. I've got Central Jamrock Public Library on the line, and I've already introduced you to their librarian. Connecting the call in 2, 1.
Yes, this is Central Jamrock Public Library here. How can I help you, officer?
He sounds worried, yet ready to assist. This is how people get when the police call.
Billy Majon, you said. Give me a moment. I'll have to check our database.
On Moreau Drive in central Jamrock, in a darkened hall lit by orange desk lamps far away from the noise outside, a middle-aged man taps commands into an old radio computer. A printout falls on the desk. Behind him, a lonely reader scours some dusty bookshelves, looking for a paperback.
Yes, hello. Are you still there? I found Billy Majon's home address. Is that all right? No phone number, unfortunately. Here we go, sir. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33B, apartment number 20. It's in Martinez, I believe. Capeside Apartments, it says. That's all.
That's where the smoker on the balcony lives, isn't it?
It says here that they returned their last book just a few days ago, but I wasn't at work that day. Marie? Marie? Do you remember a reader named Billy Majon? They returned a Tybalt book the other day. Yes, it was my colleague Marie. She said that it was Billy's husband who returned the book. He also asked for this new sci-fi release, Lowe's Radio City 87, but we don't have it yet. Marie knows Billy. She's been working here longer than me. Sometimes her husband returns some books for her.
And then goes for a little drink later, on the lookout.
Sorry, no. Marie only knows him by sight. Marie? She said it was an older man, and that she's pretty sure he'd had a drink or two the last time she saw him. 1 second. Sorry, Marie wasn't really paying any attention to that. Happy we could help. Goodbye, officer.
Anything else you need from me? 57th, over and out.
In the cabin, you see a set of just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. weathered brown door. The number reads 20. Something smells good. Soup allons, yo. The lieutenant motions to you to go ahead and knock. This is the door. You already know it's the right door. This is going to be so hard. Get yourself together. It's just police work.
You're right. Let's talk this through.
You hear light footsteps passing by the door and some folk music playing on the radio.
We have our first preliminary identification. In all likelihood, the deceased is the husband of Billy Méjean. We need to confirm this, as well as deliver the death notification to Billy herself. Now, delivering a death notification is never an easy task. There's a reason why it's often called the most stressful part of our job. This is why it's usually done in pairs. You got this. I'll be monitoring reactions, ready to act if necessary. Dad, just don't say that you know how they feel. You don't.
Good advice. The lieutenant motions towards the door.
Hello? Who is it?
And someone turns down the radio. He gives you a short, encouraging nod.
The police. A moment, please give us a moment.
Tidying up, nervously. There's fear in her voice.
Come in, the door is open.
It's you from the book stand. Did you come to bring my cockatoo back? I don't think I introduced myself properly. I'm Billy. Would you like something to drink? Tea? Lemonade? We're out of coffee.
The lieutenant has taken off his foggy glasses and is busy cleaning them in his handkerchief for now. You're on your own here. He must feel vulnerable without his glasses. Is this why he's letting you take the lead?
Is this about Victor, my husband? Is he in some kind of trouble again? I can come pick him up in the station if that's what.
Keep it together. You don't want your body language to tell her the news.
Sorry, I'm rambling. It's just that Victor often gets into all kinds of trouble. So, how can I help you?
How about some small talk before you break the news? Definitely no small talk. This isn't the time or place. It's like ripping off a bandage. The least painful way is to do it straight away, without stalling. I don't want to. There has been enough pain. I don't want to do this. Force yourself. Slap yourself.
Do what?
Officer.
Too late. You ruined it. Just say it now.
Excuse me, what? What did you say?
She's in pain. She's in so much pain. And so are you. Your chest is burning.
We are very sorry to inform you, but your husband, Victor Méjean, was found dead this morning on the Martinez boardwalk.
Oh. Oh. But he was just...
He was just here, alive.
I understand that this comes as a huge shock. I want you to know that me and my partner are here for you if you have any questions. We are very sorry for your loss, ma'am.
What happened to him? Tell me. And you just found him there? Lying in the cold? How long had he been there?
She doesn't reply. Her eyes well up with tears as she struggles to keep it together. You hear the clock ticking in the children's room.
Is there anyone we could call for you? A friend, a family member, someone who could be here for you?
No. I just need to tell my girls.
It burns like acid.
God, should I call them? Should I tell them to come home? All right, I'll call them.
She can't take much more. Her stomach is churning. Soon she will have to go to the bathroom and scream.
Just tell me, what do I need to do next? Where is he? Can I see him? And who should I contact?
He was taken to the city morgue. The local coroner will be contacting you shortly to arrange the funeral. Here's his number, in case you want to contact him earlier. Is there anything else that the RCM could do for you?
No, I'll call you if something comes up. I'm still a bit... A brain condition.
Yes, you're a total fucking horror show. No, stop now.
Again, if there's anything we could do for you, then don't hesitate to call the RCM, ma'am.
She just nods, distant and inconsolable. The bed springs rattle beneath her as she begins to shake. These are her last reserves of strength. Her muscles will give in soon to a scream.
I'll take it from here. Thank you.
We should step outside and talk. So, the death notification.
He's avoiding your gaze. This is the time to say how sorry you are about how things went.
It's all right. Don't worry about it. I'll call the station when we're finished with the day and let them know the name of the deceased. There's not much we can do for them anymore, I'm afraid.
They have to. It's not your place to live their lives.
That's it. We should get back to our case. There's nothing more we can do here. And, officer, I've seen worse. This wasn't the worst I've seen, okay? Now let's go.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist?
In the cabin, you see a set. Just dead and dying locusts, and the slow swaying of poor things. An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle.
Yes, what is it? I brought them here. These are my machines. Please don't...
The machine seems almost...
Could you...
It's not just rudeness.
Great. The swallow, you mean? What about it?
Only a strange thing.
The pillar of sight.
Maybe. I know.
She sounds mildly annoyed by this line of questioning. Her hands typing.
Yes, that's what led me here. But I suspect it might be something a bit more complicated than that. Great. Thanks.
The mother of human. There's some tear.
Hello again. No, I'm afraid I can't help you with this one, officer. It's just a regular day off for me and Mikhail here.
So you haven't seen anyone around?
No, I'm sorry. As I said, this is just a day off. We just arrived anyway.
There's something friendly and familiar in how he says that. A day off.
Sure. What's on your mind? But of course. What else?
you look poor thing. The dome-shaped plastic boy bobs up and down in a scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other. Unable to piece together the big picture just now, the scattering of bullet holes
Yes?
Uncle.
there's
Tequila Sunset. Can't really remember seeing any women after losing my keys.
it's a touchy topic. He hasn't got laid in ages. He really has no idea who this Ruby is, sire. This is it, the scene of the party, the fire pit. Cigarettes and empty bottles all evidence it. Not as such. I'm talking about what came after the party scene. Looks like they were here a while, judging from all the bottles. The sunken motor carriage provided them a focal point, like a goose ice sculpture or a chocolate fountain.
Looks like it. Hey, let's keep moving, detective.
Somehow, he doesn't want to dwell on it. The trap is poor thing. The worn and...
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder.
The face of King Fleecell smiles at you. For some reason, the smile now strikes you as more forced than it did before. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. The actual article is surprisingly light on details, but after skimming a page or two, you gather that it has something to do with motor carriage racing. If you don't follow it, you only ever hear about the ludicrous sponsorships and obscene death toll. You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice anecdotes about a few of the more colorful drivers. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the politically problematic aspects of Tip Top Tournée. Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships, and then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor crashes. So, all of it, basically. Oddly enough, this article has 2 bylines: Nasteb Encolada Bernal and Exilus Buka. Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Every pleasure, even one as elemental as the joy of racing others around a track, is reduced to an advertising opportunity. Thus, the so-called tournée becomes a competition between increasingly meaningless brand signifiers. Your discount laundry detergent racing against a pack of Astra cigarettes, or even a frita. And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, spectacular violence, audiences would quickly lose interest. At the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real races that you're really watching for. Sure, you think that, but subconsciously, it's the vision. This flimsy, that's because you haven't been reading critically. But don't worry. The whole point of these sorts of articles is to let someone else read critically.
I can safely say the thought had never crossed my mind, Detective. If I had to wager,
The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest. worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door you rattle the handle a bit, then push on the door with all your weight.
We don't get in there. Frankly, you're just going to have to accept the fact that you can't get in through every...
No. We've gotten into every door thus far. That's what we do. We open doors. We're cops. That's our perk. Even Everard knew that's a part of our MO.
Relax. No one's hiding in there. If we can't open it, others can't either. And...
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle. You rattle the handle a bit, then push. Yes, old door, worn by elements, guards you rattle the handle.
We don't get... Frankly...
No.
What else is there to do?
An old door, worn by elements. An old door, worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit. An old door, worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit, then push on the door with all your... An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. You rattle the handle. There's some tear.
Hello again.
worn by element. An old door, worn by element. You rattle the handle. An old door, worn by element. You rattle the... An old door, worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit, then... The mother of humanism stands above you, a precious and complex wax painting. mother of humanism stands above you, a precious and complex wax painting on a single pane of glass. A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you, a ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one, and a text, a light motif below them both. Unknown. The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden Reichsapfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocent stay advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, farriers, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail. Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then, along the left side, Après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau.
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however. It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing. Justice, union, prudence, and force. So do I.
The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression.